Everyone, this is Greg Davis at Azola Creative, and welcome to a micro marketing video. Today, we're going to talk about how to predict website lead generation. Now, this is something that's kind of a sticking point because sometimes you don't know what type of traffic you need to get in order to make the sales that you need to make. And that is why a lot of people don't trust their website to be a sales engine for them because they don't even know what to expect from it. So I'm going to help you kind of break down and get an idea of what type of traffic you may need in order to hit your revenue goal. What that will do, big picture, is that it's going to help you kind of understand. First of all, you know how much website traffic you need, but also you're going to start to understand where that traffic should come from. So that's sort of the next layer after you do this exercise. So we'll start with the idea of just first getting you to where you understand what type of website traffic you may actually need to have a realistic expectation on your revenue goals. We're going to start with product A. Now, product A could be a service or a product. I just like to call things product because it kind of simplifies the discussion. And so that product may have different pricing based on the scale of what it supports. And so you may have one version of it that sells for $12,300, another that's $7,500, and another that's at $3,700. Now it's too hard for you to go in and try to make a prediction on how many leads you'll get based on those different price structures. You just need to look at it as one holistic price. And so that makes it a little bit easier for you to predict. So what you want to do is just average those out so you have an average order value, or AOV. So in this case, we would have an AOV of $7,800. Now, the next step is that we have a revenue goal of, let's say, $450,000. So simple math is that we're going to divide that revenue goal by the AOV. And that's going to tell us that we need 58 sales in order to hit that revenue goal. Now, one of the cool things about this whole process, I'll just mention, is that it forces marketing and sales to work together a little closely, because what you're going to need is you're going to need to work together on getting some of these numbers that we're going to go through. And so that makes that relationship tighter as well, which is really a great benefit, because sales and marketing really should work closer together, but sometimes it could be a little bit fragmented. So this is another way to get there. Now let's go into understanding what our average close rate is. So again, this is going to be a question that sales can help answer. They're going to have their average close rates, and that might be kind of a holistic view of all the products and services that you offer, or it may be based on individual products. So that can vary depending on the scenario. But what you want to do is just find out what your average close rate is going to be for this product and work from there. So we're going to assume here that we have a 40% close rate once sales gets those leads. So that tells us that we need to get 145 leads so that they can close those 58 sales. Now the next thing we have to look at is how many of those leads we're going to generate through the website. And so we have to look at what our average conversion rate is on the website. Now, again, this is going to vary. It could be based on products, it could be based on services, it can be based on promotions, seasonality, and then there's also comes down to different industries. Some industries have really high conversion rates, some might have lower. We're going to go with 2% just because that's an easier prediction to make, because 2% is an average good conversion rate for a website. So rather than complicate this, we'll just stick with 2%. So now what we can do is that math and understand that in order to hit those sales, we need 7,250 website visitors, because with that volume of visitors, now we're going to see a 2% conversion rate, meaning they'll turn into leads. That gets us our 145 leads. Then with our average close rate from the sales team, we get 40%. And that brings us to our 58 sales that we need to hit that revenue goal. So this exercise is really helpful for you to go about what you're doing, because now I know I need 7,200 visitors to the website or to a landing page in order to hit those numbers. Now I can make arguments for maybe what kind of budget I need to drive that through different marketing channels, whether it be social or email marketing or SEO or pay-per-click, etc. Now you kind of know what your target is going to be. Again, always know that results may vary depending on your business, depending on what kind of budget you have, depending on what resources you have. But this at least gives you something that you can work towards to have a little bit more predictability, or even a lot more predictability, depending on how well you can exercise it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pause, because I'm going to show you how I simplify this over on the CMO dashboard by Azola Creative. And I'm going to show you how to go through this exact same step, but it happens in seconds versus it being this long process that we just went through. All right, so now I'm over at Azola Creative's CMO dashboard, and I'm going to show you just how this is a little more simplified. You still have to do the homework and go get those numbers because that's going to be the important thing long term. But I'm going to show you some interesting things in the way that you can manage this as a marketer. So let's say, again, we're going to plug in those numbers. We're going to say we have a $450,000 revenue goal. We have a $7,800 average order value. So we know, again, we're going with this idea of a 40% close rate, 145 leads, and then we have a 2% conversion rate, which gets us our 7,250 website visitors that we need. But now this is where, again, as a marketer, you can start to kind of hone in on maybe different approaches based on more granular details and numbers. Let's say, for example, that the sales team doesn't have a 40% close rate here. Let's say they have a 25% close rate on this particular product. That's going to change the formula here because now you're looking at 232 leads and you're looking at 11,600 website visitors that you need in order to generate those sales. Let's go with the idea of like maybe it is in that 40% range, and let's look at the website conversions. Well, we're saying 2%, but let's say it's 1.2%. Now we know we have 12,000 visitors that we need to get. Or let's say we have a better conversion rate. Let's say we have like a 4.5% conversion rate. Now we know that we only need 3,000 visitors, 3,200 visitors roughly, in order to hit those sales projections. So what this does is when you understand what your numbers are, it also helps you understand kind of that predictability on the website traffic, but it gives you some areas to focus on. You might say, well, what can we do to take that that average close rate from the sales team? What can we do to turn it into, let's say, a 60% close rate? Because if we do that, again, it's going to take our number down. And if we have this 2% conversion rate on the website, what if we could tweak that and get it up to even 3%? What that's going to do for us is, again, it cuts it down. So you can start to kind of play around with the numbers here and get different areas around what to predict, what website traffic you actually need, so that you're not just blindly making suggestions like, well, we should increase our website traffic by 5% or 10%, or we need to get just a lot more traffic because we don't even know what that number should be. This is going to give you some predictability that makes you sound more confident. It helps you speak in better financial terms, which is really what it's about, because if you can show the financial value, you're going to increase the trust that exists between you and the rest of your organization. So if you want to know more about this, you can go to azolacreative.com and find out more information about the CMO dashboard. Inside there's a lot of tutorial videos, there's trainings, as well as these calculators. There's all types of content that we do in there to help elevate marketing to be more valued in the organization and to build the trust. So again, hope you'll check that out. Hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you next time.